Hi, everyone. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and this is the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast, the music podcast on where I interview singers and musicians from genres of black music: gospel, jazz, blues, old school classic soul, old school hip hop, today's hip hop and R&B, Caribbean, Latin, Afrobeat, Afro-Latina, blue-eyed soul, disco, go-go, line dances, and the Lost 45s. So come with me as I take you on to a trip to the destination genre of black music, right now on the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Legal Shield is a proud sponsor of the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. If you've been involved in any types of accidents, have you been a victim of identity theft? Have you been a victim of a computer fraud scam? Have you been in disputes with your tenants or landlords? If your loved one dies and they didn't write up a will for you or for your family, or you and your spouse are filing for divorce, or if you need help by opening up your small business, give Legal Shield a try. Visit their website right now at LegalShield.com and make sure you mention the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Don't delay. Click today. You'll be glad you did. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., creator and host of the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. We're back, and this is season number 6. And I have a very special guest just for you to start off episode number 231 of season 6 of the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Now, I know everyone has been asking me and saying like, "Hey, Sam, when you gonna get some real stars like Madonna or Cyndi Lauper or Public Enemy or maybe some Diana Ross?" Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad you asked, because on the season opener of season number 6, to start off episode number 231, my guest is Mr. Melvin Riley. Melvin was a former lead singer and co-founder and multi-instrumentalist of the group Ready for the World. Do you remember the 80s group Ready for the World, which had 2 hits, including Oh Sheila back in 1985 and Let Me Love You Down back in 1986? This group was going on to stardom. They performed on Soul Train. They performed on Solid Gold. They've been on American Bandstand. And yeah, do you remember those shows back in the days? We still had American Bandstand, Soul Train, the Midnight Special, which was canceled back in late 1981, early 1982 on NBC, and replaced it with SCTV. And then July of 1983, the birth of music videos. It was NBC Friday Night Videos. And we had some other music shows across the country in syndication and local networks for those who don't have BET or MTV or VH1 back in the days of the 80s. So, as I said, we had some other shows, including Dance Fever. Y'all remember the show Dance Fever? So, as I said, I have a very special guest just for you. His name is Melvin Riley, former lead singer of Ready for the World. He has some solo LPs that came out back in the late 90s, and he has a new LP out right now streaming on iTunes. Now, if you're a big fan of Ready for the World back in the 80s, I urge you to please subscribe to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast right now. Go to my YouTube channel. All you need to do is click on that subscribe button on the bottom of your screen. And if you're a big fan of the 80s, make sure you please subscribe. Please support my podcast. Let's get up to 800, 900, and 1,000 subscribers as we start off season number 6. So please check it out. I know you're going to love it. To start off season number 6 of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast with my guest, Mr. Melvin Riley. In the meantime, enjoy this episode and thank you for your support. Welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience. I'm Sam Wilson Jr., and I have a special guest on my show. This gentleman that I'm about to introduce was the lead singer, producer, multi instrumentalist, musician, songwriter, and the co founder of the 80s group called Ready for the World. The group had top 10 hits, including Oh Sheila, Love You Down, Tonight, Deep Inside, My Girlie, Digital Display, Can He Do It Like This, and many more. Today, he's an independent solo artist and he has his new LP called No AI, which is available right now on iTunes. And you can check out some of his music videos, including some of the songs from his new album, available right now on YouTube. Please help me welcome to the Black Soul Music Experience, ladies and gentlemen, the singer, songwriter, multi instrumentalist, co founder of Ready for the World, and his name is Melvin Riley. What's up, Melvin?
Everything, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, and you. Welcome to my podcast. Glad to have you here. And I
Thank you, fam.
finally got me a real singer that I grew up back in the 80s. I
Yes,
mean, man, during the 80s, you had BET, MTV, VH1. And if you
absolutely.
didn't have cable, we had NBC's Friday night videos, late Friday night, right after Johnny Carson. And then you had some of the other local shows across the country.
Yes.
And if they had a music video airing for you, whether it's on American Bandstand or Soul Train or the Midnight Special or
There you go.
NBC Saturday Night Live or
Oh man.
Solid Gold. And back in the day, we used to have a show called Soul with an exclamation point, which was
There you
aired
go.
on PBS back in
Okay.
the early 70s. That was during my time.
All right.
So, Melvin, I'm very delighted to have you here. So,
Thank you, man.
everybody knows who you are. America knows who you are. The world knows who you are. I know who you are, but I don't get a chance to get to know who you really, really are. So, I'm very delighted
Yes.
to have you here.
Hey,
So,
I'm honored, man. Thank you for
uh,
that introduction too. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
oh, you welcome. I did my homework, so I grew up around all the 80s, so I'm
There
very
you go.
delighted to have you. So let us begin, shall we?
Absolutely.
Now, now let's get to know you a bit. Please tell us a bit about your origin story. Where were you born, and what type of environment did you grow up in?
I was born in Clarksdale, Mississippi, actually, where the blues originated. A lot of people are now understanding the history of Clarksdale, Mississippi. Uh, that blues, that rhythm, that vibe, man. I used to have to go to Mississippi pretty much every summer with my dad and my uncle Hall. It was kind of one of those rite of passages, I guess. When you grow up in the South, like my mom and dad did, I had to go back every year. Well, when I used to go back every summer, even through the years, I grew up listening to blues. What a lot of people were listening to mainstream music, I was actually a young man listening to blues because that's what my mom and dad would listen to and my uncles, and we would travel. And that's kind of that upbringing that I came up with as far as music is concerned. It was that blues genre. And from there, man, I grew up in Flint, Michigan. At the age of 2 years old, my dad and my mom moved to Flint, Michigan for the education. Both mom and dad were school teachers. And so they brought me up here to the South, me and my two sisters. And that upbringing, man, that foundation is everything that has stuck with me even till today. A powerful upbringing, man. I used to tell my mom and dad, you guys are the best parents anybody could have. And I think that is what structured me and gave me the success that I've had.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Now, which high school did you go to?
Flint Northern Vikings. No. We make that a big deal where I'm from. It was four high schools: Northwestern, Northern, North, was it Southwestern, and Central. And I grew up at a school, Flint Northern Vikings, where we had a lot of athletes come out of there, man. So yes,
Hmm.
I'd be in trouble if I didn't say Vikings.
Okay. And which college did you go to, and what was your major in college?
I actually went to school for communications, and I graduated magna cum laude in communications. And I went back to school for my mom and dad. I after I graduated from high school, I went to a junior college, and mandatory in my home was education. And I always told my mom and dad, I'll go back to college, just let me do my music thing. And to my surprise, my mom and dad never gave me a hard time. I actually dropped out of college. And so they let me pursue this. I know it sounded like a crazy dream, for parents to let you go ahead and drop out of college. So they took a chance like I did. And that really made a difference. Yes.
Now, when you were young, who did you want to be when you grow up?
Sports is my thing, man. Music is something that's a gift that God gave me that I really didn't know I had until I was starting to get up in high school. But you couldn't have told me I wasn't going to be a professional football player. That was my thing, man, and it's it still is. Football is my first love, and honestly, nobody would have told me I wasn't going to be in the NFL. I had the speed. I just didn't have the size. And so as I got older and the whole non-reality hit in, and I went to a talent show rehearsal one day after football practice, and the guys were trying to audition for the talent show. And a guy did it named Jesse Wilborn and my sister Cassandra Riley. They did a talent show audition. And when Jesse opened his mouth and sang, was it Donny Hathaway and Roberta Flack, The Closer I Get to You, the girls went nuts. And this was in rehearsal. I said, next year I'm going to be in the talent show. I didn't even know how well I sing, but I knew that I could come behind a record and get the girls' phone numbers after I sang a hit song on Friday night. And so that's kind of where I kind of got interested in doing talent shows. But the one thing I do remember is I would always come home and I would play on the piano. I never could stay away from that piano for some reason. And that's where I kind of developed my own little style and my melodies. Was my mom put a piano in our living room, and that's where I kind of came up with that vibe. My own. I guess I never really listened to a lot of mainstream as much as possible because it was more or less blues. But as I got older, man, I just developed my own style from that piano.
Mm.
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes, sir.
speaking of that, how old were you when you started playing the musical instruments as well as writing songs and singing songs?
That's a good question. I think I may have been around 10 years old, 11, 10 or 11 when I started writing my own songs. And it would just be little melodies on the piano, but that little gift of melody, I would come up with these little corny songs, but I didn't know I was developing a writing skill.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, now that you are a singer and songwriter and playing all the instruments, was that your calling?
I had no idea until I kind of got, I'd say around the 12th grade, and I picked up the rhythm guitar. And then, but the first love after that was that bass guitar. But for some reason, I could play what I wanted to hear. So it didn't matter so much as I got to develop my skills in playing the bass guitar and the piano and the rhythm guitar. My fluentness wasn't there, but my writing ability was there. So if I said, this would sound good there, I would keep going until I learned how to play what it is that I wanted to hear, or either I would want somebody else to play it. And that's why I ended up, I think, creating all these songs for Ready for the World. A lot of people don't know this, but a lot of the Ready for the World music that you hear is just me in the studio. No disrespect to the guys in the group. It just kind of happened that way where I'm in the studio and I come up with "Love You Down" and every instrument, every vocal is just me. And then I brought a guy named Gary Spagnola to play the guitar on the guitar solo. Same with "Can He Do It Like This?" The same with "Human Toy." A lot of the songs that you hear is just me in the studio, and I just I called it "Ready for the World."
Mm. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, who were some of your favorite singers and groups?
I've got four heavyweights that are my barometer. And me personally, one is George Clinton. This guy is phenomenal in his ideas
Mm-hmm.
musically. Him and Bernie were well. The other would be Prince. The other is Stevie Wonder,
Mm-hmm.
and the other is Michael Jackson.
Mm.
Those are my four powerhouse. I guess it's like God took his finger and said, boop, 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 boop. So those are the guys that I pretty much look up to. Now, there are a
Mm.
lot of artists out there now that I do like, but growing up, those were my four go tos.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Wow. And
Yeah.
who were your musical influences that had inspired you to sing?
To sing, I think to sing Jeffrey Osborne. Vocally, I would have to say that's who, when I was a child, he kind of stood out to me. His vocals, his sincerity, his passion, that on the wings of everything that you felt from Jeffrey, that vocal, man, that from the diaphragm, I think that's who really inspired me to sing. As far as musically, would be the other four.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the group Ready for the World and what year was the group was formed?
84. We did it in high school. We formed the group in 83. I went off to college. A few other guys were doing what they were doing, but we officially kind of formed it once we did our demo tape after high school. We're like 17 years old, and that demo tape kind of clinched everything. And we had names like Private Boys School, Blank Point, Point Blank. We had a lot of names at that time, but we officially came together with that once we did our first demo.
Now, how would you describe your sound when you was with the group and now on solo?
The sound is me, as far as, Ready for the World's flow and swag, because I was the main songwriter and the vocalist. That was that main Ready for the World sound. When people say that Ready for the World sound, um, you know, Gordon and I would come up with songs, and then I would come up with something on my own. But that voice and that swag that everybody talks about, that was just a style that I came up with, just coming up playing songs and creating songs. I didn't really have a mimic to go by, so I just kind of just flowed into what I felt, which is what I do now. I don't have a rhyme or reason to it, but if it feels good to me, that's all that matters.
Mm.
No rhyme or reason.
Right. As far as your singing is concerned, does your fans or any of the people come up to you and say that you almost sounded like Prince?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. That was one of the Gerald Busby at MCA Universal knew I had my own sound, but he also knew there was a vibe out there. The Minneapolis sound was going on, Cameo was going on. It was a lot of competition back then, and I really think that was kind of one of the main driving points was we have to have our own unique sound. And out of the listening to Michael Jackson and listening to different groups, that subconsciously gets inside of you, and then your own vibe just kind of comes out as well. So it's a mixture and a vibe. But we did hear a lot about, hey, you guys, are you from Minneapolis? Are you guys this? Like, no, we admire what Prince is doing. We admire what Cameo is doing. And then we just do what we do.
Mm.
And, I was
Now,
honored. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, Prince, I
yes,
mean, Prince, like I said, is one of those guys like God said, ding. So,
uh
yeah, it's
huh,
an honor. Oh, definitely.
yes. Now, your group and your music has influenced some of today's hip hop and R&B artists, including Usher, Chris Brown, Troop, Keith Sweat, Jodeci, Alicia Keys, and a host of rappers and balladeers. Have you ever thought about collaborating with them someday or anytime soon?
Absolutely, man. Right now in my I gotta say my older age, I'm really having fun right now with music. I still got that swag, I still got the vibe, and I think if I were to collab with Usher, Chris Brown, or whomever out there, I think it would be great. We haven't put anything like that together, but it would definitely be something that would be ferocious. Definitely. The three of us can do a jam together. Me, Usher, and Chris Brown. It would be ferocious. That'd be the name of it. Ferocious.
Mhm.
Yes.
Now, let's talk about your song "Oh Sheila" from your self-titled
Ouch.
debut LP that went to number 1 on Billboard's R&B Black Singles charts back on September 21st, 1985 for 2 weeks, number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts on October 12th for a week, and number 1 on Billboard's Dance Singles charts on October 12th, 1985 for 2 weeks. Tell us about what those songs was about for Oh Sheila. Was it about Sheila E or was it about the other Sheila?
Who's the other Sheila now? You got me now. No, I never wrote the song for Sheila E. I was 17 in my mom and dad's basement when I wrote Oh Sheila. And I remember being on the keyboard, man, and I came up with that dun, 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 and I'm like, oh, okay, this vibe is cool. But I had different names. I had Oh Lisa, I had it was a few names, but that Oh Sheila, it just kind of came together. And when I was in high school, I would always talk like this and make this little Britishness. So when I came up with it, like they always say, what's good for the goose is always good for the gander. Oh Sheila, it hit, and I kept that Oh Sheila in there, and I rode that sucker out. And it no,
Mm.
and it definitely it was not about Sheila E, but it just kind of flowed at that time. It worked out.
Well, speaking of that, when I was watching your music video on YouTube and it went platinum and it sold over 1 million copies in print and it went gold in Canada. So now
Yes.
everybody was asking because I was watching Entertainment Tonight back in 1985 and it was talking about Sheila. Was it Sheila E or the other Sheila? So everybody
Oh, okay.
was a little curious about that.
Yes, absolutely. And they're still curious, about that. But it's one of those things that has lasted, man, for years. And it's something cool to play around with. And I love Sheila E. and all the work that she's done with Prince and the whole nine. But yeah, I was 17, man, when I wrote it, and I wanted that name with that song.
Mm.
Yeah,
Wow. Now, let's talk about your love ballad, Love You Down, from your second LP, Long Time Coming. And
yeah.
that song went to number 1 on Billboard's R&B Black Singles charts on December 13th, 1986 for 2 weeks, number 9 on Billboard's Hot 100 Pop Singles charts, and number 24 on Billboard's Adult Contemporary Singles charts,
Hmm.
which has been covered by 2 female artists, which was INOJ
Mm-hmm.
and Michelle Indige Ocello. Now,
Mm-hmm.
please share with our audience on what the song is about. And do people come up to you and say that you almost sound like Babyface?
I've never heard that one. I've never heard the Babyface one. But Love You Down, man, it's been redone so many times, by multiple artists. And I am just blown away and honored, man, that God has blessed me for my music to continue to be used by different artists and through the years. Love You Down is one of those songs that, like I said about the old Sheila, I started off with Let Me Lay You Down first. But we had a problem with the first single, which was called Tonight. And Tonight got banned on a lot of stations because of the lyrical content. And then it opened all up and everybody started playing Tonight in the daytime, nighttime. But a lot of people don't know we had a struggling time with Tonight because the lyrics were so tough. Well, when I did Love You Down, I had to keep in mind I don't want my radio airplay cut from my lyrical content because I know I can go off and say a lot of things because I kind of get in that vibe. So I had to be a little strategic and Love You Down and say, if I keep it let me lay you down. I don't want to run into this problem again with radio. So I turned it from Lay You Down to Love You Down. So at the same time, I figured people would understand when I say "Let me love you down." They would know what I'm talking about because I did get away
Mhm.
from the Lay You Down. Yeah.
Right. And I mentioned the two female artists. They have the
Oh,
reggae Caribbean version of that song. So when I be over at someone's friend's house or an after work party, they will play that Caribbean version, reggae rockers
oh,
version
I
as well.
love it.
So
I love it.
they all love your song in different
Okay.
versions and
That's
anything.
beautiful, man. That's
Hmm.
that's so cool. So cool.
Hmm. Now, let's talk about your 1994 solo debut LP called Ghetto Love.
Yes.
Please share with our audience on what the album is about. And when I saw your album cover, I said, is he wearing thermals and boots? Who came up with that idea?
That's a Michigan thing, man. We when you grow up in the cold Midwest, thermals, and if anybody knows in the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. Thermals are our way of keeping warm. We go to football games, we go to different things, and you put the thermals on underneath your clothes. Well, I believe it was either my stylist or either the record company, but when I did the Ghetto Love album, they were like, "Hey man, you got a nice chest, like man, just go ahead and roll with the." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't want." He's like, "No." And Dominique Trenier, and this is a crazy story. Ghetto Love is a crazy story. Dominique Trenier was my A&R at the time, which ended up managing D'Angelo.
Hmm.
Rest both of their souls. And he came up with to say, man, just go ahead, man, and swag out with your thermals, man, and just do what you do. And if we don't want to keep it, we don't keep it. They wanted to
Hmm.
keep it, and there's the Ghetto Love album,
Hmm.
and which is a
Now,
crazy story.
oh, wow, yes. Now, I got a chance to check out your song called Who Is It? And I downloaded the song from your first solo
Oh, whose is it? Yeah.
LP. Yes. Tell
Hmm.
our audience on what that song is about.
Whose is it?
Hmm.
It's that male confidence that we used to walk around with in the 80s and the 90s, the cockiness of it. And I just, I like singing about songs that are relevant, what people are talking about. And the fellas used to be like, yeah, whose is it, baby? And so I had to play off of that same vibe of how do I make this a song? Whose is it? Oh, yeah. And that music and that melody kind of marinated and married each other. And that's where that whose is it comes from. That male letting her know, hey, whose is it, baby?
Okay.
Is this rated R show or no? I'm just kidding. I could go further into it, but no, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
Because
what it.
every time I hear that phrase, a couple of guys give me some of those porn videos and it's like saying, Who is it? And I was like,
Yeah.
everything. Oh, my goodness. Now, speaking of your solo album, how many tracks have you written on your solo album and who were the producers of that solo album?
My new album that's out, or are you talking about the Ghetto Love, or
The Ghetto Love.
the Ghetto Love? Man, the majority of that album was produced and written by myself as well. I just carried on from what I did with Ready for the World to my solo album. But it was some good collabs. Chucky Booker and I collaborated on a song called "Love's Gonna Get You," and that's Chucky Booker on the piano. I played a mock version of it, and Chucky's version. And when he got on the piano and played the version, I was like, "Oh no, that's so beautiful, brother." So we kept Chucky Booker's piano version of the song called "Love's Gonna Get You." But the majority of the album was definitely written and produced by myself. I also had Keith Scott on there, Frank G, Jan Land, Livio Harris, Jamie Foxx. Well, Jamie wasn't on that particular one, but I had some collabs from different producers on the album. We had a ball. Absolutely.
Okay. Now, let's talk about your new album called No AI. And we want to let the audience know we're not talking about the other AI, artificial intelligence. We're talking about the other AI. That
Mhm.
means the capital A with a small letter I.
Mhm.
And I got a chance to check it out. And please share with our audience on what your LP is all about.
I think it's all about feel good, man. Having fun and feeling good. There's no set, I guess, style other than when you hear each song, you'll know it has its own little thing. And that's what I like to do. I don't want to set up to say I want it to be this or be that. I like for it to just happen and come to me as I'm recording. And the no AI, of course, I have no problem with AI music. Everybody that does AI music, hey, I have no problem with that. As a matter of fact, I think I've heard a few AI songs that I like. But my album, I'm just letting everybody know, my album, there's no AI. It's all, the real deal, vocals, backgrounds, instruments, and the whole nine. And coming out with no AI, a lot of people are like, well, what do you have against AI? I have nothing against AI music or AI anything. I'm just saying my album, when you pick it up and push play, it's no AI. It's the real me playing the bass guitar, playing the rhythm guitar, playing the keyboard, playing the strings, and the whole nine. And it's something that goes along with that. I think as you play live music, there's a spiritual vibe that comes along with you playing that AI can't give me particularly. I like to sit there and play 9 or 10 bass lines per song to find the right bass line that's gonna really put this song on fire. And I just believe in putting that work in, man. I really do believe that once you put that work in and you give yourself all those possibilities of bass lines, of hooks, of lyrics, of vocal arrangements, you come up with the best work.
Okay, so I hope you heard it, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about the real stuff. No electronic stuff, no lip syncing. We're talking about the real music, real drums and
You gotta
everything.
give
No
them
electronic, no electronic
right. You now I do
synthesizer
have some
stuff.
I got programs on certain drums that I'll do, or then
Hmm.
I'll have my drummer come in and play a live session. So it's just a mixture on the drums of where you may be programming or you might have a live snare, live kick. It's all about what's going to work for that particular song.
Okay. Now, I got a chance to check out your music videos on YouTube, including They Won't Leave Me Alone, Talking in My Sleep, Rockstar, Sugar Daddy, and You Complete Me. Please share with our audience on what those songs and the music video was about.
That They Won't Leave Me Alone, of course, that's just that's definitely one of those fun songs where you just having fun. And I wanted to put Diana Ross because she is phenomenal. Billy D. Williams, that chemistry that they had back in the 70s, of course, in the 80s. I know the new audience, the younger audience, aren't pretty much aware of all of that history.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, they won't leave me alone. Who was the playboy back in the day where the women won't leave him alone? Billy
Hmm.
D. Williams.
Hmm.
And it was just so fun and creative putting that little video, even though it was a edited video. I just wanted to say, hey, do you guys know your history of how men used to conduct themselves in a swag, in a debonair way? And if you're saying, hey, they won't leave me alone, let them see some debonair. Let them see some 70s, 80s, and 90s swag. And to me, it's
Hmm.
real artsy. Of course, I'll be doing videos with me in it some more. But for that particular video, man, it kind of blew up. I actually did a Cadillac Chronicle drive at the same time that came out. And the views just kind of went through the roof. And people kind of accepted that whole vibe of, oh, Diana Ross, Billy D. Williams, different, and they gravitated toward that. As You Complete Me, of course, I'm in that video. So all of my videos are kind of getting straight to the point, and I want to capture people's ear as well as the visual.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because me growing up, you know, I get a chance to see some of the black actors because when we
Oh
had
man,
some of the black movies, you mentioned Billy D.
yes.
Williams, so we don't want to leave out Sidney Poitier
Oh,
and
Sidney
Harry
Poitier,
Belafonte, and
my
then
man.
yes, and during the
And
'80s you
you're gonna
had
see a lot of those. Yes, I got new
yes,
videos with those guys in it. So
hmm,
yeah, you know exactly what you're talking about. I've got some with Harry Belafonte. I really think that our young audience needs to see that swag that was once there. The Richard Roundtree, you know what I'm
hmm,
saying?
yes,
Uh, all of that, man. And I want to bring that back in a way to where they can see that in a new light, but with new music.
hmm,
Oh yeah, you've got star-studded guys that and females. Dorothy Dandridge, man, we can't let these people go because we've gone into a different stratosphere. we got to let them know their foundation. That means black, white, Hispanic, doesn't matter. This is
Hmm.
some real talent that I think that should definitely be put on the forefront again.
Right. And
Oh,
you mentioned
absolutely, man.
Dorothy Dandridge. We don't want to leave out Diane Carroll
Oh, not at
and
all. Oh,
Diana Sands, and
yes.
also one of my favorites. You got Della Reese
Della
and
Reese, man.
all everybody that I
Yes.
grew up during the 70s and 80s. And
Yeah.
I don't want to leave out Nichelle Nichols, the
Hmm.
original Star Trek, you know, dealing with the future and
Thank you.
everything with
Yes.
glamour and grace, and most of all a representation of us.
Yes.
What can we look like in the 21st 22nd century? We never know.
Thank you.
So
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
very glad that you mentioned that, because many of the youngsters, may not know about it. But
Right.
my youngest niece, she's old school. She'll
Mm.
listen to any type of old school, whether
That's
it's
how my son and
Michael
daughter are. Yeah.
Jackson or Prince, or if she
Yes.
was watching some movie that had Sidney Poitier and Harry
Mhm.
Belafonte.
Yes.
So she's old school. So she kind of got it off
She's
from
got
me.
my daughter and my son. I don't know if I brainwashed them when they were little, but they listen to that 90s and that 80s vibe. And, they like some of the new stuff, but they always talk about the songs that were, in the 80s and the 90s, and Jodeci and all of that type of stuff. Yeah, man. The,
Mhm,
you know, music to me is kind of like soul food. It's a
mhm,
foundational thing where if you grow up with what tastes good, you know what it should taste like. Well, the same with Motown music and all of that music. If you grow up with that good stuff, you know what it should sound like.
mhm,
You know what real bass guitar sounds. You know what real drums. You know what string arrangements and vocal arrangements.
mhm,
All that growing up with that good stuff, man, makes a big
mhm.
difference. And a
Yes.
lot of writers and producers nowadays, you know, they'll do a great track and a great energy. The energy is great, but I want to hear those hooks again. I want to hear those bridges. I want to hear the vamps and the hooks and all that. That real deal, man. Absolutely.
Mhm. Right. Now, have you kept in touch with some of your members of Ready for the World? Have you kept in touch with them?
Absolutely. I still tour now as Ready for the World. With me being the voice of Ready for the World, there's no other voice that sang the songs but other than myself. And so the crowd still wants to hear the original voice of Ready for the World. So I do shows as Ready for the World. I'll also do my solo shows as Melvin Riley. But when you're hearing Ready for the World, you're hearing Melvin Riley. And when you hear Melvin Riley, you're hearing the original Ready for the World.
Okay.
I speak with my bass player all the time, John Eaton, the original bass player. He travels with me when we do shows.
Uh-huh.
So me and him, we do a lot of shows together as Ready for the World. Absolutely. No, we
Okay.
can't leave the Ready for the World out, man. That's going to be forever. You
Hmm.
know, uh, the fact that me and the group don't work together anymore doesn't change the sound of Ready for the World, because the
Right.
majority of what you're hearing, and I hate to sound this way because it sounds like, oh, he's no, but the God's truth of the whole matter is that whole foundational thing was me being in the studio. And then I would bring in some of the guys from the group. But then you had Greg that did digital display. You had other members that did a little this, that, and the other in their parts of the songs. But like I said, when you hear Ready for the World, you're hearing Melvin Riley.
Okay. Now, here's a question that I always ask my guests: living or dead, which artist or group you wish you wanted to meet or to perform with?
I've met everybody. um, I've pretty much performed with everybody. Our first tour was Luther Vandross, which is phenomenal. Another
Mhm,
God-given talent.
mhm,
I would say, man, if we were to tour now, it would have to be with a Prince. The fact that God is not, I mean, Prince is not here anymore, and God blessed him with that talent. That is
mhm,
somebody that would have been a major. I would have loved to have toured with that whole function. Of course, we did shows with the Time.
mhm,
Um, Man, it's pretty much everybody in in the R&B industry. We pretty much toured with. We didn't do Michael, we didn't do Prince, and we didn't do George, and we didn't do Stevie. So out of those four, I would have loved to have toured with either one.
Okay.
Nowadays, we all get together and we'll do shows together. So of course I love my guys out right now, but those, if I had a tour with anybody, I would have loved to have been one of those four.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. Now, here on the Black Soul Music Experience, I always ask my guests who are the top 10 R&B black artists of all time. So since
Mm.
I have you, Melvin, we're about to do the Black Soul Music Experience top 10 classic soul and today's R&B
Let
artists
me
of
get my
all
ink pen out
time.
here. Okay. All right. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Now, here's how it works. We do it like a top 10 countdown, like the show America's Top 10,
Okay.
hosted by the late Casey Kasem. We
Yes.
start at the bottom five. We will find out who were some of the best singers, but depending on the record label they were on, they didn't get any recognition or the record label didn't get them marketed or promoted. And
Right.
when we get to the top five, we will find out who was the best selling artist ever. Who was the artist that had the top 10 number one hits? Did that artist receive the gold or platinum or double platinum or triple platinum or today's diamond platinum? Did that artist won a Grammy Award or an American Music Award or an MTV VMA Award or a BET Award or a Soul Train Award? Did that artist performed on American Bandstand or Soul Train or the Midnight
Mm.
Special or NBC's Saturday Night Live or Solid Gold? Or did they perform on that show called Soul, aired on PBS?
Okay.
Or did they had their own primetime special, whether it was aired on CBS or NBC or ABC? Or did they
Mm.
had their special on PBS, whether it's great performances, or they had their own special during Pledge Month? Or did they had that live concert special, whether it was aired on HBO or Showtime? Or did that artist receive a recognition, whether it's a Kennedy Center honoree or being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? So, Melvin, are you ready to take this challenge?
Let's do it, man. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
We're going to start at the bottom five. Who should be at number 10?
Who should be at number 10 of all time? And are these artists you said that didn't get the recognition, or it doesn't matter?
It didn't get the recognition.
That I think they deserved?
Right. So I'll give you like an example. I'll put down Phyllis Hyman at number 10.
Okay.
Although she had the power voice sound, but she was on the Arista label, but didn't
Hmm.
get any recognition or
The way
didn't
that
get
she should have.
any marketing or promotion like she should have. So
Yeah,
she's
I'm gonna
best
say Shirley.
known
Go ahead. Go ahead.
she's best known for her hits, including the remake of Betcha by Golly Wow with Norman Connors on the
Hmm.
drums, You Know How to Love Me, and
Yes.
also Can't We Fall in Love Again with the late
Phenomenal.
Michael Henderson, and other tunes, including Don't Want to Change the World. And it was like, you know, things didn't work out for Phyllis like it wanted
It should
to.
have. Right.
Right, because
My,
her last
yeah.
appearance, she was supposed to perform with the Whispers, and that was back in June 1995, and that's when they found out that she committed suicide.
Yeah.
And it was a spiral turn for her. So
Yeah.
she had a wonderful voice, but you
Wonderful
know,
voice. Beautiful,
gone
man.
too soon. So we'll put Phyllis Hyman at
Phyllis time.
number
Okay.
10.
I'll put Shirley Murdoch at 9.
Alrighty,
How
Shirley
about that?
Murdoch, part of,
Phenomenal voice.
yes, part of the group of Zapp and Roger. She had her solo debut LP back in 1987. I would never knew this lady could sing.
Oh my
And with
goodness,
her
man.
debut song "As We Lay" and
Mm-hmm.
some other tunes, she can do R&B, she can do
Yeah.
gospel, either one.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll put Shirley Murdoch at number 9.
Okay.
All right, we're up to number 8.
Stephanie Mills.
Yes, representing Brooklyn, New York, Stephanie Mills. She came on the scene in 1975 on Broadway, The
Yeah.
Wiz.
Yes.
And then she went off to superstardom with her debut breakout hit, What You Gonna Do with My Lovin',
What
and
you doing?
other follow up hits,
Mm-hmm.
including Field of Fire,
Oh
which
man,
I didn't know that was
Peebo.
written by Preble Bryson.
That's
I
who I'm
thought it
going to
was
say is
just,
number. Yeah, that's
I just
another one.
thought, yes,
I
I thought
think
it was
people.
just Stephanie.
Oh, did you? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My
And,
sister used to sing Peebo Bryson's version
uh huh.
of that, and then Stephanie Mills came out with it. But I was
Uh-huh.
going to say Peebo Bryson has to be on that chart as well.
We're going
I
to
don't
put him
think
at number 7, too.
number
People
seven. Okay,
Bryson.
I think
Yes.
Peebo should have gotten the Lionel Richie treatment.
Mm-hmm.
I think Lionel Richie got a hell of a lot of promotion and marketing at was it Motown?
Yes, Lionel Richie was on Motown
But
when he
Lionel
was.
really got the promotion, so I can't. But yeah, I think people should have gotten promotion like that. Another one,
Yeah.
another artist, I think is Jeffrey Osborne.
Okay, Jeffrey at number 6 started out with LTD and then
LTD,
went
man.
on his own with those top 10 hits you mentioned, On the Wings of Love, and he had some other tunes as well.
Hmm.
So when I either go out on Friday night, they'll probably play either Jeffrey Osborne or
Okay.
LTD. So,
There you go. And he was the voice of LTD,
mhm.
for a while until he went solo. But who's another artist that didn't get the promotion and marketing, but I think is on that list? I'm trying to
Okay.
think. Who else do I have?
Well, we'll put those bottom ones we just mentioned. Just mentioned
Mhm.
Phyllis, Shirley, Stephanie Peebo, and Jeffrey.
That's a
So
good list.
good. We're up to number 5, the top 5.
Uh huh. Dun 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 dun. Because a lot of the guys I know they did get the promotion. Cameo.
Ah,
Larry
yes.
Larry Black.
Cameo with Larry Blackman on lead. When
Oh my
I
goodness.
first heard their songs back in the 80s, including Word Up and Candy, that was
Hmm.
some of the top 10 hits. They played at the clubs too.
Oh yeah.
But back then, here in the NYC, when Kiss FM changed the format, the classic
Okay.
soul and today's R&B, I I didn't know that they did a love ballad. They played
Oh man.
two love ballads. They played Sparkle and
Yes.
Why Haven't I Lost You? And I said,
Shoot.
Cameo did those two?
Oh man.
I didn't know that. So,
Phenomenal falsetto. I remember speaking with Larry Blackman. I said, "What happened to that lead singer? He passed away. The one that had the high falsetto. I
hmm
forgot the gentleman's name, but Cameo. Oh man, yes, one of the greats. One of the greats, and which I think should have had more marketing and promotion.
hmm
So that's another artist.
okay. We're up to number 4.
Roger and Zep.
Ah, yes, Roger Trotman.
I'm having
All
fun
right.
with this, man, because I got some guys that I really felt Roger should have, and like all these artists that I'm saying have had great success.
hmm
Um, but like you said, the marketing and promotion, and you know what it takes, when the record company pushes that button, zoom,
hmm
like the Michael Jacksons and the Prince and all that. Once they push that major button, the world can hear them. I'll tell you, the next artist, I have to put him higher. So you might have to help me out with this next one.
Okay. Okay, so we're up to number 3. So let's put
You
down
know,
Luther
I like that.
Vandross.
He got
Yeah,
hell of a promotion and marketing, but I would have to say Luther. Okay.
yes. Coming
Yes.
from the NYC, Luther Vandross, will be best remembered for those commercial jingles.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went out on his own. He had hits with the group Change, including
Change.
Glow of Love and Searching. Went on his own 1981 with his hit Never Too Much. And
Mm-hmm.
then he did the remake of Dionne Warwick's A House Is Not a Home. He had some other tunes, including Bad Boy Having a Party, Stop to
Many.
Love, Give Me the Reason, There's
Oh yeah.
Nothing Better Than Love, Dance with My Father, all of those
All
tunes.
of that,
But
man.
the other thing that I didn't know, that I was watching the clip from Sesame Street on YouTube, and I saw him in that group, and I was like, "That's Luther." he was slimming down before we know him as Big Luther. So that I didn't know because they were doing a song called Count to 20, and that was from
Okay.
Sesame Street. So that I didn't know that he was with the group from Sesame Street back then.
I didn't know that until you just said that, man.
Yeah, because the
Well,
only
I
Luther
know he
that
was
I,
with David Bowie. I know he was out as a background singer for David Bowie and a lot of people
yes.
before he emerged himself. But yeah,
Hmm. Yes, so
I,
we'll put
but where's he
Luther
at number?
number 3, we put Luther, and we're up to number 2.
I'm gonna say Gladys Knight.
Yes, Gladys Knight and the Pips,
Hmm.
legendary. They came on the scene back in the mid 60s with their hits, including I Heard It Through the Grapevine, and
Man,
there's
you
all
are
the
phenomenal.
other
You got it all.
songs.
I can
Yeah,
name
cause
anybody. You
I
know the data on everybody.
yeah, cause I have a couple of those Gladys Knight LPs, including the greatest hits and anthologies. They're known for their hits, including Neither One of Us and
Oh yeah.
their top 10 hit, number one hit, Midnight Train to Georgia, that won them a Grammy. And they did the song from the movie Claudine.
Yes.
And also, they switched over to CBS Records where they had their album called About Love, produced by Ashford and Simpson,
Mm,
had a song called Landlord, and they had some other ones, including Save
yes.
the Overtime for Me. And I saw them
Yes.
in the music video too. And they were keeping up with the times, with the
Yeah, they
hip
were from
hop
yeah.
breakdancing
Her
and stuff like that.
her voice is so out of here. Gladys Knight has a voice that is it changes your whole mode and mood when you listen to her vocals. There are certain vocals that are untouchable.
Hmm.
Okay, I know that you can have a lot of artists that can sing, but Gladys has that voice that she's my favorite female vocalist besides Whitney.
Hmm.
I love Patty and I love, but yeah, Gladys would definitely be my number one along with Whitney. But number one for me, are we at number two?
Yeah, we did number 2. Now we're
So
up
so we have
to,
one.
yes,
Drum roll. I'm
yes.
gonna say Donny Hathaway.
Donny Hathaway, representing Chicago, Illinois, came on the scene back in the late 60s. He had tunes including The Ghetto, Love, 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 but he'll be best remembered for doing duets with the late Roberta Flack,
Roberta Flack.
including hits including Where is the Love, You Got
Hmm.
a Friend, The
The
Closer
closer I
I
get
Get to
to
You,
you.
Back Together Again, You Are My Heaven. They'll be
Oh man,
best remembered for those tunes. So
yes,
rest in
yes,
peace to the one and only
both
Donny Hathaway. He'll be wearing
absolutely.
that Kango cap, so he'll be
Yes,
best
yes,
remembered for that.
yeah. I think that's a heck of a list.
Yes.
Of the artists that of course, you got the bigger promotions, but these, yeah, I think that's a heck of a list.
Mhm. Alrighty. Now, before we wrap things up, we talked about everything, your group and your solo career and everything. What would you like to be remembered as?
The music, for me, it's always about the product, the music, how it made you feel, and I want to be remembered for how I made you feel. Did you hear hit music? Did you hear songs that you can play 40 years later? Yes. You've got the Love You Down that's still being played, Oh Sheila. I want to be known for my music. The drama of Ready for the World, which we could get into, or the drama of this or the that. At the end of the day, how did Melvin Riley make you feel when you're driving in your car, when you're listening with your family, when you're with your wife, when you're with your girl, when your everyday life, when you go to work? Can you play Melvin Riley in the background of your life? And Melvin Riley wants to be the background music to your everyday life. And that's how I want to be remembered.
All right. Well, Melvin, thank you so much for being here on the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. It's a pleasure talking with you. And as I said, I finally got a chance to get my real star on my podcast to start off season number 6. Thank you
Yes.
so much for all of the songs that you brought into our homes, into our car, and on the tube doing the music videos. Thank you so much. Continued success with this new album, No AI. I hope it will be successful as well.
I am so thankful for that. We did just hit number 7 on the charts with No AI on iTunes a week ago. So I am very happy about that. And I just want to thank you for having me, man. And you are a encyclopedia of music, I see. So
Hey,
I like talking to guys like yourself and ladies like that know this thing called music. So I appreciate you for having me, man, and I definitely appreciate this interview. So definitely.
hey, thank you for the compliment because me growing up, I watched Dick Clark, Don Cornelius,
That real deal.
Casey Kasem, and Wolfman Jack because they
Yes,
always asked the
midnight special.
questions that the audience would like to know.
Yeah,
And being informative like Walter Cronkite and the Max
yeah.
Robinsons and the Don Lemons and the Joy Reeds.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh yeah.
always like to entertain, but also be informative and to let
Yes.
the audience know of who I'm interviewing on my
Yes.
music podcast.
Love it, man.
Now, before we go, where can we follow you on social media?
You know, you guys come and check me out on IamMelvinRiley.com. That's my website. I'm on Instagram as I am Melvin Riley, and you can go to Facebook, and I'm just under Melvin Riley. For some reason, there's a lot of Melvin Riley pages out there, and I don't know what happened. Uh, but the Facebook pages that I have is I got the hat on, and then there's another one with my Renee Atkins put together, which is a great page as well. So just come and check my Facebook out. You'll know if it's the real deal because you'll know the updates. Somebody's done a lot of Melvin Riley pages, but come and check out the real ones. You know, more, definitely. So that's my social media hookups, and you'll definitely be seeing me out there on the road and doing a lot of press. So
Okay.
definitely, yes.
Yes. Download all the artists that we have talked about on this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Visit iTunes.com, Spotify.com, or purchase a CD at Amazon.com. Make sure you follow Melvin Riley. Visit his website, IamMelvinRiley.com. Follow him on Facebook at Melvin Riley. Be sure to look for his face on Facebook. And make sure you look for him on Instagram at I am Melvin Riley. And check out all the music videos on YouTube. Download all of the greatest hits of Ready for the World and a couple of his solo albums from Melvin Riley and the new one, No AI for Melvin Riley. Visit, go and stream, download everything at iTunes.com. And make sure you check out the music videos available right now on YouTube. And ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know more about my podcast, please visit my website at the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. Look for me on these 5 platforms. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Pocket Cast. And the link is riverside.fm/studio/Samuel-Wilson Jr.'s. Don't forget to add the S at the end, -studio. And I will be posting this episode on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And if you have a hard time getting on to riverside.fm, then please make your donations by becoming a member and subscribe to Patreon. Make sure you go to patreon.com. All you need to do is have your computer, have your email, have your password, and go to the Patreon homepage where you see all of the Patreon shows done by different creators. And make sure you go to the search box and type in the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast 6, where you can check out all of my audio and video podcast episodes and video podcast clips that you may have missed. And if you have a hard time getting on to Patreon, then be sure to look for this episode on my YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience, or do it the old school way. Go to the YouTube homepage and go into the search box and type in the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. Click on the magnifying glass and look for my picture. I'm wearing a tuxedo. If you
Mm.
like this episode, if you love my podcast, please subscribe, please support, please give me a thumbs up, please leave a comment, and please pass it on. Thank you for joining me as I close out this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience. Well, that's about it for this edition of the Black Soul Music Experience podcast. I'm Sam Wilson Jr. Thank you for joining me, and please tune in next week for an all new episode. The Black Soul Music Experience podcast is sponsored by the support of listeners and viewers like you. If you want to know more about my podcast, please visit my website at the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast.com. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to the Black Soul Music Experience podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and Pocket Cast. And please check out my audio and video podcast episodes by becoming a member and subscribe to patreon.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast 6. And also, please check out my video podcast episodes by subscribing to my YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/the Black Soul Music Experience, or go to the YouTube homepage and type the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. You can also leave your feedbacks, comments, and replies by going to my Facebook homepage. Go to facebook.com/the Black Soul Music Experience Podcast. You can also tweet me on X, aka Twitter, at Sam Wilson Jr. 66. Follow me on Instagram at SAMM.Y2980, and follow me on Blue Sky at Sam Wilson Jr. 66.bsky.social. As always, partying, remember this: reach for the top and your dreams will come true, and it can happen to you. From all of us, take care. God bless. Thanks for listening. Have a good week, and please be safe.